A class is a template used for creating objects. Classes are made up of members, the main two of which are fields and methods. Fields are variables that hold the state of the object, while the methods define what the object can do. The class can also have a constructor. This is a special kind of method used to initialize the object. It always has the same name as the class, and it doesn't have a return type, since it implicitly returns a new instance of the class. To be accessible from another class, it needs to be declared with a public access modifier. When we create a new instance of this class, the constructor method is called, which sets the fields and returns the new object. If we want to, we can add a parameter list to the constructor to make the field's initial values depend on the parameters passed when creating the object. Inside of the constructor, as well as in other methods belonging to the instance, we can use a special keyword called this, which is a reference to the current instance of the class. If we, for example, use the same parameter names as the instance variables, we could still access the fields by using this keyword, even though they're overshadowed by the local variables. To support different parameter lists, we can overload the constructor. If the constructor is now called without any parameters, the fields will be assigned default values. Given one parameter, it will set both fields to that value, and for two parameters, they will each be assigned to a field. Trying to create the object with more parameters than we've defined, or with incorrect data types, will result in an error, just as with any other method. The this keyword can also be used here to call one constructor from another. That way, we don't have to duplicate as much code. Notice that the keyword appears as a function call before the constructor body and after a colon. If there are fields in the class that needs to be initialized to a default value, such as with the first constructor here, we can just as well initialize them at the same time as they're declared to make the code a bit cleaner. These default values are assigned implicitly when the object is created, unless the fields are set in the constructor. If we don't define any constructors for the class, the compiler will automatically create the default constructor with no parameters when the program compiles.